Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new malicious compliance content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, "You Can't Pick Up Extra Time Because You Had Too Many Sick Days." I'm a nurse at a large hospital. The floor I worked on was selected to be the COVID unit during the first and second waves. More nurses than not were catching COVID. So whenever I got an inkling of being sick, I would call out and get tested. Now if I tested positive, then I would get 2 weeks off without penalty. But I tested negative and returned to work. I get called into the office and got a verbal warning because I had one too many sick days. I said to my manager, "You realize we are in a pandemic, right?" She says, "Yes, I know that, but we still have to stick to the original policy." When we clock in, there is an electronic message that pops up on the time clock that reads, "During the pandemic we need to self-monitor ourselves, and by clocking in you are declaring that you are fit to work." There was no adjustment to the policy even though we were a COVID unit during a pandemic. So I would either have to lie about feeling sick when I clock in, or call out and get in trouble. Here is where the malicious compliance comes in. I had always picked up a lot of extra time in a sister department. Not because I needed the extra money, but because the hospital was always short-staffed. My manager didn't like the fact that I picked up extra time in the other department. She wanted me to pick up extra time in our department. So she said, "As punishment, you cannot pick up extra time in the other department for 90 days, the length of my disciplinary period. You should be responsible enough to pick up extra time in your own department." As I didn't need the extra money, I didn't pick up any extra time in that period. I got called almost every day to ask if I could come in because they were short-staffed. One of the reasons they were short-staffed was because our sister unit was even more short-staffed and the nurses on my unit were getting pulled to go work there. If only more nurses picked up extra time on the other unit. At the end of the 90 days, I was told I could pick up extra time in the sister department again. At which point I handed in my 2 weeks notice and told her I accepted a position at another hospital. She then tells me that because of my years of service I need to give 4 weeks notice. I tell her, "No, that's just a courtesy. So I'll extend the same courtesy I got when I needed to call out sick." Next one is titled, "Sick Leave and Management." Many moons ago I was an RN working in aged care. A brand spanking new facility, owned by lawyers and run by clowns. In the short time I was there, around 18 months, we had 8 or 9 managers, each wanting to put their own stamp on the way things were run. One such manager started canceling already approved leave and implemented a rule that we had to provide a full week of notice for sick leave. What? I challenged this, because like most of us, I often don't know I'm going to be unwell until I wake up that day. Nope, the rule stays. Well, about that cancelled leave. I had booked 4 days off for my brother's wedding. Instead of haggling over it or simply not turning up, I decided to follow the rules. Exactly 1 week before the wedding, I called in with notice for sick leave. Manager: "What's wrong with you?" Me: "I'm not sure yet." Manager: "What do you mean you're not sure? You need a reason for sick leave." Me: "You require a week's notice, so I'm giving that to you. I'll be sure to bring in a medical certificate when I return." I had an amazing time at the wedding, had my GP sign off on sick leave as they viewed my time off as essential for my mental health, and about a month later I handed in my resignation. Funnily enough, I heard the policy was revised not long after I left. Next one is titled, "Christian Music Only." So this happened quite a while ago when I was in my early 20s working at a radio station. Every day at 8:30 a.m. there would be a Christian program that would last an hour. Leading up to it I had some other program that ran until 8:15, and when it ended I had 15 minutes to play whatever music. The station was country, rock. One lady started calling in every day for over a week complaining that I should be playing Christian music for those 15 minutes. I played mostly music for younger people who were commuting to work or getting going for the day. My boss got sick of getting the calls, so I was told I needed to play Christian music. I complied, playing Devil Went Down to Georgia, Devil in a Blue Dress, Highway to Hell. My manager asked what did I just do. I looked at her and told her that the devil and hell are Christian things. On cue the phone rings and my boss tells the lady that they don't sponsor that time. I never had to deal with the issue again, but I heard she said some very unchristian things about me around town. Next one is titled, Rude Boss Interrupts Again, and so I honor his decision, sale dies. I work in a highly competitive B2B sales role with a consulting firm. The services and products I'm responsible for are complex with many layers of detail that can make it challenging to navigate through each deal. We are highly regulated and have some legal compliance requirements on what source of funding a client is permitted to use towards certain services being purchased. In short, there are things our clients need that have to be paid for on a fee basis instead of commission offsets. I'm a 15-year veteran of this industry. I know the rules well and have never violated our legal compliance regulations. My team knows this, and in fact, none of my deals last year were commission-based by design. I'm the kind of person who believes in doing good work, contributing effectively, and being a constructive team member. It's not in my nature to ride the wave and just collect a paycheck. Last year, only my second year on this team, I ended up more than doubling my sales goal for my region and actually hit the overall national goal for the team. My counterparts had a rough year, and so I was proud to have contributed so that we as a team made our numbers. Unfortunately, when it came down to it, even though leadership said they value my efforts and appreciate my results, I got paid less than I did the year prior when I just barely hit my goal. Long story short, when I questioned my bonus incentive pay being short, I was told, that's just the way it is. In doing some research and pulling records, I found that my deals over the last 2.5 years of being on this team are the most profitable and have some of the highest client satisfaction ratings this team has ever had. I'm proud of that, but I don't flaunt it to the team or to leadership. I like for my work to speak for itself rather than me parading it around. Our team is small with only 8 of us, yet we have 2 national leaders assigned to us, one of which is painful to work with at best. Larry was given this position by his best friend who sits at a higher level in the company, and unfortunately, Larry isn't very capable of being a good leader. He is quick to spout off, is rude to the team, tightly wound, and all around just not a pleasant person. Being in a sales role, it's my job to close deals and drive revenue. Larry doesn't seem to understand that, and at times has said things to me like, "You just want to do this for the sale, don't you?" And when I say yes because that's my job, he says, "Well, I'm looking for every possible reason to tell you no." This isn't the best way to deal with sales execs and motivate new production, just the opposite. Instead of helping think through possibilities and creative solutions, Larry likes to shut things down and puff his chest to prove he knows best. And it's not that I am afraid of being told no. It's the way he does it before even taking a moment to understand the scenario before interrupting and spouting off. It is a fight with Larry every single time, and it's exhausting. On top of that, he is always asking me to do more, take on more tasks, responsibilities, because the others on this team are either already overwhelmed or aren't capable. I feel like Larry tries to exploit my work ethic and results. It's deflating to be treated like this, and combined with the terrible way pay has been managed, I'm at the point where I'm done being an overachiever. By the end of Q1 this year, I was already hitting 40% of our overall revenue goal and over 70% of my personal goal. I've decided to go on cruise control for the remainder of the year. After all, that's just the way it is. There is a lot more that has built me up to this point, but it would take a novel to spell it all out. It's been a rough couple of years working with Larry, and I'm over it. Enter the malicious compliance story. I've been working a deal for about a year now, and the client has some complex requirements we are trying to solve for. I have a solution, but it's just slightly outside of the revenue parameters that I'm authorized to approve on my own. We have a standing weekly meeting with Larry and the others where we talk about strategy and any deal where we need special approval. Prior to the meeting, I put together a very thorough financial analysis, everything Larry would need to evaluate the request and make an informed decision. It's a 6-figure annual deal on a multi-year contract that will generate some nice revenue for our team. My ask is for a one-time concession of less than $3,000 outside my permission limits and is the difference between closing the deal or losing it to the competition. The math is simple and it's in the best interests of my company and for my team for us to win this one. Effectively, it's $1,000 per year for us to gain $120,000 per year, rather, $119,000 after the concession. Should be an easy decision. So comes the day of the weekly meeting with Larry and the team. When it's my turn, I start outlining my deal and setting the financial foundation for my request and all of the services included. This is important per the legal compliance rules noted above. Before I can even finish, Larry decides to spout off, interrupt me mid-sentence and just says, "No, you can't do that," with a tone that echoed throughout the rest of the team. I let things go silent for a few seconds. At this point, I'm so done with Larry's garbage that I just said, "Okay. That's all I have for today," and then I hand the meeting over to the next presenter, Paul. Larry chimes back in, "You can't use commissions to cover that expense. That's against compliance rules." Me. "I know. If you would have let me finish, you would understand this is not a commission deal. I have structured this on a fee basis specifically to avoid that." "No worries though. I understand and I'll tell the client they will have to find the extra $3,000 because we aren't willing to work with them." Larry. Some rambling onto a sidetrack about compliance that isn't relevant to my request and the financial decision. Me. "Thanks for sharing that. My point isn't to question compliance. I'm well aware and uphold those requirements on all of my deals. This is in compliance. My ask is for a $3,000 concession to close this deal. That's the long and short of it and is what I'm asking you to either approve or deny. I've discussed with the client all of the other considerations from a legal perspective and they understand. This is about beating out a competing offer. Nothing more." Larry. "Well, you have to decide if you want to write the business bad enough or not. At this point, I have no motivation to sell this deal and since Larry said it's my decision I say." Me. "Okay, I've pretty well decided it's not worth it so I'll let them know we couldn't get it approved. I wouldn't want to cut our profits on the deal. I'm already a year into this negotiation so I'm going to let it ride out." Larry. Silence. Me. "Okay, Paul, over to you now." "Thanks Larry." The meeting continues and when we wrap up, I hear from Larry again. Larry. "Hey, where is the financial analysis on client? I want to look it over and see what margin we will make." Me. "It's in the folder where we always save them and it's filed according to procedure as always. No need for any further analysis though, I've already told client and waiting to hear their response. I'll keep you posted. Thanks." Larry. "Wow, I just pulled up the files. These numbers look great. Plenty of margin in the deal. How'd you get to those figures?" Me. "That's what I was hoping to explain earlier. I'm sure you saw my deals from last year too and I'm just doing the same thing again this year. All good. I'm on to the next one now. Have a good afternoon." Larry. "Okay, let me know if I can help." Admittedly, this last interaction with Larry I was feeling salty. I'm over his behavior and quite frankly, I don't care if I sell another deal this year or no. It has been proven that I am not going to get rewarded for going above and beyond, so why put in any more effort than I have to? At my current pace, I'll manage to hit goal for the year without having to work too hard at it. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is struggling and for the most part aren't tracking to hit goal. I'm not going to be the pack mule this year. Someone else can carry that torch. My time is better spent shopping my resume out to see what else is out there. Edit. My work and results are known through the company. I have my own strategy in how I navigate that, but I'm not boastful. I didn't get into that strategy detail in this story. It's not specifically relevant to the MC. I appreciate everyone's encouragement. Please know that I ensure my work has visibility and acknowledgement beyond Larry and beyond my defined territory. Last one is titled, Okay, I Quit Then. Reading some other high school and college jobs reminded me of this one. In high school I got a part-time job at a food store we would call No Skills. At the time minimum wage was $5.15 an hour and they paid $9 an hour if you worked graveyards. That was killer money, so I worked graveyards Friday and Saturday nights during the school year. I got in at 8 p.m. and left about 7 in the morning. Black Friday was coming up in about a month and my friends liked to go out and shop around for fun. I requested to leave early at 10 a month in advance, which was approved by the cool manager I'll call Charlie. That night comes and the whole manager is working, we'll call him Dave. Dave decided to give the night off to 2 other employees, leaving us very short-staffed. I of course requested my time off a month ago, so whatever, not my issue. I get into work and let him know I am leaving at 10 just as a reminder. His response was, "We'll see how far along we are by then and see." I didn't like how he phrased that, but I thought whatever, I'm leaving either way. So it's about 9:50, I've been working my butt off stocking shelves to get as much done as possible and go to let him know I'm leaving. He stares at me and says we are too far behind and I can't leave and to come ask him at 11 instead. I tell him no, I have plans and took it off, so I'm heading out. He starts to grumble to himself, gives this little speech about how everyone else will have to stay super late if I go yada yada. I say I'm still leaving, I took it off a month ago, so it was knows well in advance. He stares at me and tells me if I leave I shouldn't bother coming back and that I will be fired. High school me says that's not fair and whatnot, then he just says I can stay or lose my job. This job is just so I can have spending money, but he seems to think I'm like some other staff who actually need the job and can be bullied around. I just tell him okay, I quit, and started to walk away. He tried to say something but he just mumbled as he had no idea what to say. He never expected me to actually leave. The next day Charlie calls me up and apologizes for what happened and asks if I really wanted to quit. I told him no and about what happened. He assured me Dave would leave me alone and had been talked to. I later found out he was also no longer allowed to approve time off anymore since he left the store so short-handed and the morning crew actually has to help stock the shelves because it still wasn't done. Thanks for listening.